Thank you so much for joining us today. We're here with students from our Hardin County Teen Court, and we want to borrow a little bit of your time to tell you about our program. And Hardin County Teen Court is here at the courthouse, the Justice Center in downtown Elizabethtown on Thursday nights where teens take over the courthouse. I'm Judge Shoemate and I manage your program here in Hardin County, but we have students from all across our region that come to be a part of our program, and a few of those are joining us today in the studio to learn more about the program. So ladies, if each of you would introduce yourself and what school you're going to this fall, and that'll kind of give us a way to get started.
My name is Anna Summerall and I go to Elizabethtown High School.
My name is Kennedy Hamilton and I also go to Elizabethtown High School.
My name is Meredith Honkin and I go to Faith Home School.
Wonderful. So thank you all so much for taking time out of your schedule to talk to others about teen court. Now, teen court, as we know, is actual juvenile cases. That's usually the first thing that people want to say, you know, just some pretend court or mock trial, but it's actual juvenile cases. And you have the chance to work on several different kind of roles within the courthouse on a case. So let's let the listeners know a little bit about what kind of roles might you have or have you played in the work in a teen court case. Anna?
So personally, I haven't done all of the roles. I tend to prosecute as well does Kennedy, but we have defense attorneys as well. We also have clerks and bailiffs and jury forepersons, and of course everyone gets to serve on the jury at some point, or at least we hope, so that they can help craft a sentencing for our defendants. I don't think I'm missing any roles, am I?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Have you done anything more than prosecuting?
I have done defense once, but I would definitely say that prosecution is more what I lean towards.
Okay. And what about you, Meredith?
So I've done clerk a couple times, prosecution once, and back bailiff once.
Yes. So when you are a clerk, what kinds of things do you do during teen court as a clerk?
So that's mostly just paperwork, like you fill in which teen court representatives are taking which roles, and you write down who's all in jury and just make sure everything's in order. And then whenever prosecution or defense has some papers that they'd like to turn in for the jury to look at when they're deliberating, you'll also handle those.
Just like a clerk in criminal court during the day?
Yep.
Yep, exactly. So we're creating those records for teen court.
Exactly.
Yes, yes. Have any of you served as a jury foreperson?
I have.
Tell me about those experiences. Kennedy, how would you explain that experience?
I think it is honestly one of my favorite roles, definitely second to prosecution. I love being able to almost handle the jury room and just kind of organize whatever even debates happen in that jury room. I think it's really interesting to hear all the different point of views, or even hear what someone picked up during the case that you may have not, or just get all the different perspectives when it comes to sentencing options. And a lot of people will even have a different creative idea on sentencing that you wouldn't have thought of.
So some of our viewers may not know that teen court is for individuals who have what would be criminal charges if they were an adult, but they're a teenager, and they're coming to teen court for their sentencing, meaning they've already admitted conduct. If you were an adult, you would say you'd pled guilty and we're going to sentencing. But in our juvenile court, we admit conduct and then come to teen court for the sentencing. So you've heard me say many times that the jury is the most important part. The flashiest can be the prosecutors or defense attorneys, right? But the jury is the most important part, right? So, Anna, why would you say that jury is the most important part of teen court?
Well, if you really think about it, the jury has this defendant's next 6 months of their lives in their hand. They can decide if this person is going to have a more strenuous sentencing or something that's a bit more lenient. And so really the jury sits through this and they listen to the juvenile's testimony and they really think about all the different aspects of their life. What made them do this? Would they be able to find time to do this amount of service hours? And they take all of that information in and they create a sentencing which isn't just for someone with that specific charge, but that specific person.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to watch.
No cookie cutter justice.
No.
No. And when we say that you have a jury of your peers, really teen court is the only opportunity in the juvenile world to have a jury of your peers.
Yeah.
Because traditional juvenile court is with judge only. But teen court gives you the chance to have a jury of your peers from your region here. So those really are the roles, right? Prosecuting attorney, defense attorney, jury foreperson, and then the members of the jury, and our bailiffs and our clerks. So that makes the whole comport. I like the fact that some of those are very upfront roles, like prosecutor and defense attorneys. You're arguing in front of a jury using those persuasive speaking skills you might have been practicing in English class or in speech or just in your family around the dinner table, persuasive skills. But there are also those roles like clerk or bailiff or a jury member that don't require public speaking. Yeah. So those are interesting to see. Have you found with some of your peers, Meredith, that there are certain students that gravitate towards certain roles?
Yeah, I would definitely say you can see that the more outspoken kids gravitate towards the lawyers, the defense and prosecution, and especially if someone's on the quieter side, but they want to still participate in it, and they don't just want to sit in the jury box, but they want to actively participate in the courtroom, then you'll see those kids be more towards clerks or bailiffs.
Yeah, absolutely. So sometimes when we talk about teen court, people think, oh, I can't do that. I can't get up and speak in front of people. Have you ever watched anyone as they became more confident in their courtroom and in their cases to take on more roles than they might have ever thought they would? Like, I'll be a prosecutor, but I never believed I might be.
Oh, that was me. That was me.
Not that I knew that about you.
You're talking about some person, but that was definitely me. I eased into it by trying out the clerks, and I was like, oh, the clerk is easy. I'll just try prosecution. Well, I was so glad I tried prosecution. That was really fun. That was really cool.
Stepping outside of your comfort zone. Yeah, in a controlled environment like teen court is a good place to do that.
Yeah, and you guys prepare us so well. You're like, here's all the paperwork you're gonna need. Here's your here's your partner. Here is like what, if you need any help, reach out to people who've done it in the past, get advice from them. And then you also, to pair up with another lawyer in the real world, you can ask them questions. I asked so many questions. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Please help me. And they were so helpful. I'm like, this is great. So when it came to my first trial night, I was scared, but I also knew that I had done everything to prepare that I could.
That's an excellent segue. Open house is Thursday, August the 31st at 6:30. And so open house is really just a chance to learn what the program is about, starting that preparation phase, and then we'll jump into training. So open house is not mandatory, but would you say it's recommended?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, if you've never been before, really get an idea. So what might somebody expect at open house, Anna?
So at open house, the lovely Judge Shumate will introduce you to what the program is, kind of what we're talking about here. She'll tell you how it started, what goes into it, the certain rules and parameters of our program, and then we will have a mock trial. So with our parents, they never get to watch our teen court cases. They're confidential, they're for juveniles. However, with the mock trial, of course, it's mock, it's not real. One of the few cases we do that isn't absolutely real, and everyone can watch what it's like to be in the Justice Center on a Thursday night. And then after that, we will have refreshments if that's not a reason for you to go. And you'll be able to talk to some of our executive committee and learn about different aspects we have of teen court, what we're doing when we're not in the courtroom, and all of the different ways that we engage in our community and together when we would like to do things that aren't just past the bar. We want to find ways to help our community that aren't just that.
Wonderful. So are any of you all going to be involved in the mock trial this year?
I am.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So August 31st, 6:30 to 8:30. We'll be done long before 8:30 probably, but if they want questions, we'll hang around for them. At the courthouse, the Justice Center downtown.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
You can't
Sometimes
miss
people
it.
get confused. The one right smack off, not the historic courthouse in the middle of the square, but the brand new Justice Center just halfway south on 31W. There we go. Okay. So we talked a little bit about preparing. That means training. So we know that we go through training. I'd like to tease and say we'll do 3 years of law school and 6 weeks of training. So we do those on Thursday nights as well. So Kennedy, talk a little bit about that, the training process. What do we do?
So like Judge Shumate said, training is a 6-week process, but we spend nearly 2 hours in the courthouse every Thursday. We hear from different people in the community, whether it be police officers, different attorneys, or even representatives in our community who kind of influence the program. Maybe they support it, or maybe they have worked as an attorney in their daily life, and we kind of hear different things that they feel we need to know, any kind of important information that prepares us to be an attorney or a bailiff, a clerk, a jury foreperson. They really instill in us the different characteristics and just the important things that we need to know, because it's a very significant decision that you're making. You're in a very important position when you take part in teen court. And throughout training, we have like the 7 C's of teen court, for example. We get lots of handouts and things that prepare us to maybe make an opening statement, to write questions. We learn how exactly to do those things. We're given different opportunities to even apply that knowledge, whether it be through mock trials that we have, or even just a quick stand up and try something out in the middle of the courtroom. And it's a great experience, and it definitely prepares you well for the court nights.
So what would you say are skills you already need to have before you come to teen court?
Breathing.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I would agree.
You don't have to come with any new skill, anything you already know, right? You can just come, what we would say, tabula rasa, blank slate. Just come in, and we will teach you what you need to do.
Also some listening ears.
An open mind.
Excellent, excellent, yes. We talk fast sometimes, and there's a lot to learn.
do.
But we give it in writing, and we can make up on video.
Yes.
How many of you have ever had to do video makeups?
I did.
All right, Meredith, let me ask you that question. If you can't come to Thursday night training, because there's 6 Thursdays in a row, some people have sports on those Thursdays at the beginning of the year. It may be soccer season or volleyball season, but they really want to participate for the rest of the school year. So are they just out of luck, or are there opportunities for makeup?
They are not. So basically what you do is we have a Google Classroom. You can sign up, and then we'll post a video on there. You can watch the whole video. You can take notes based on what we say in the video, and it's just like being there in real time. And then there's a little quiz to make sure you watched, and then you're all done. You completed training.
Excellent. So we do have to take all 6 weeks of training, preferably in person. You've done the ones online. Are they nearly as much fun as in person?
Not nearly.
Not nearly. But you can make them up that way if you need to. So what would you say were the benefits of coming to training in person versus having to do an online makeup?
Well, of course, you can ask questions and you can get an answer much faster than an email. And really getting to be around others. You're sitting in these trainings with people who may be your co-counsel, or they may someday be a clerk. And it's really helpful to get to know them so that when you are doing these real trials, it's a lot easier to communicate with people you know. So I think that's a really good benefit to going in person.
Getting to know people. Yes. Now, our teen court covers a wide range of geography. We call it Hardin County Teen Court because it's administered in Hardin County, and because of all of our defendants come from the Hardin County Juvenile Court docket, with one exception. But otherwise, we cover a much larger geographical range. Now, I'm going to try and go through, and then y'all are going to tell me who I missed, because I'm invariably going to miss a group. Hardin County students, homeschool, private school, and public school. Meade County students, Fort Knox students, LaRue County, and Nelson County. Did I miss?
I believe that's all.
You got all of
Can I
them.
get them all? Okay. Private school and public school, as well as homeschool, from all those areas. So when you say get to know people, you can't presume that it was another E-Town High School student, or it's someone you met from a homeschool group, or someone that you live near, because it could be, you may live in LaRue County and be a co-counsel on a particular case with someone from Meade County that you never would have crossed paths before. Have any of you made a new connection, or maybe even a new friendship, because of meeting somebody at teen court that you might not otherwise have seen before?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Can you think of anything that would have said, this person I would never have had a chance to cross paths?
Meredith?
I would have never met you two either.
Yes.
I'm homeschooled, so my ability to cross paths with any people my age socially is very limited. So teen court was like, wow, I get to meet all these people from all these different schools, public schools, places I've never been to before. It was very cool.
Now, some schools will let you have credit, like extra credit for doing that. Does your homeschool allow you to get extra credit for your teen court experience?
I could technically classify it as like U.S. government
Sure.
credit elective. So yes,
I think that would be an excellent opportunity, or maybe even some of your English, depending on what you're doing. Because if you're writing a persuasive speech, an opening remark into a jury, and performing that, you never know.
Yeah, it's
I'm creative.
It's
We should
kind of like
talk.
a debate and create. It's kind of like a speech and debate class, and U.S. justice all smothered into one, you know.
And be real life, and not just a sterile
not just a
classroom
class.
environment, but real people.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
definitely. So I always tell people that the chance to meet new folks at Teen Court is one of its benefits, because you do get a chance to find like-minded individuals. So speaking of that, Kennedy, would you say that most everybody at Teen Court intends one day to go to law school and be a lawyer? Is that a true or false statement?
It can be true, but it's definitely not always true. I find a lot of people come for just outside experience in their community. A lot of people just have the desire to make a difference in our communities, and Teen Court is definitely a way to do that. Some people, like myself specifically, would love to be an attorney one day, but even just the experience of Teen Court outside of your regular school or your extracurricular activities is a great way to, you know, have experiences or even to build up your resume, because that's always a great opportunity as well.
Yes. Teen Court is community service in and of itself, right? You don't get paid to do it. I don't get paid to do it. We're volunteering in our community, and so it is actual community service if you need that for another organization, like if you need it for Beta Club or you need it for Honor Society, or some schools even have community service hours as a part of the way to graduate. You have to do so many hours of giving back. So Teen Court, all the hours we train and all the hours we're in the courthouse on a particular case night are actually community service hours in and of themselves. So you're right, that builds a resume in the community service block as well as in that activity block, things you do outside to gain skills in life. Yeah, awesome. So what would you say, Anna, are some other reasons that you might want to be in Teen Court? Because you might want to be a lawyer, because you might want to meet other people, because you want to help students. Is there anything else you can think of that might motivate someone to do Teen Court?
Well, so speaking of a resume, through Teen Court, you gain a lot of those soft skills that you see on a resume and never know what to do with as a teenager. So for Teen Court, if you're an attorney, you're almost definitely going to have to call a school SRO or a defendant's parents. And then you're going to have to work on your public speaking skills. If you're a clerk, you're going to have to work on being organized, and everyone's going to have to work on being on time, learning about being professional. And so they're not really things that you would learn in your typical high school. You don't really get opportunities to email random people. However, through Teen Court, you really get to gain some of those professional skills that will be very helpful in a work environment.
Communication skills.
Exactly.
Yes. Email skills. One of the first lectures we have is make sure your email address is one you want to share with the world. This is your first face to the world, is your email address. And the one you got in middle school may not be the best email address for today. So whether you use your school email or create one, if you end up asking for college scholarships, you're going to be sending them to an email address, and that may not want to be kittycat01@gmail.com. You may want to think again about your email addresses. So those just, as you said, the simple soft skills about being professional in your demeanor. And of course, we always talk about being professional in our attire, right? As we go through our 7 C's, our clothing is one of those 7 C's. And is the school dress code the same as your Teen Court dress code? Meredith, I know your answer is no, because you're doing homeschool, right?
Yeah.
They don't make you dress in a jacket and slacks. Okay, just checking. I wouldn't expect
My sister wore pajamas one day to school, and that was fine.
And it
but
was
then
fine.
again, our school was just down our stairs.
There you go. Exactly. So what would you say was a difference, perhaps, Kennedy, in your school's dress code versus what a Teen Court case night might be?
Well, for Teen Court, on training nights, it may be very similar to a school dress code, whether it be jeans and a t-shirt coming to training. But when it comes to the actual court nights, we are definitely expected to be dressed very professionally, whether it be in blazers and suits, dresses, long skirts, heels even. Sometimes not recommended, but
it's always, can you walk in that heel,
Yes.
right? Yes, yes. All that part about being comfortable in your clothing and in the atmosphere you're in. Yes. So if you're a young man, do you have to go buy a suit?
No.
Okay. What would the expectations be if there were a young man in Teen Court for their attire?
Oftentimes just dress pants, even like a nice button-up, a polo even, would suffice.
Yep, tucked in shirt with a belt and some dress shoes.
Show that you
pretty
cleaned
much
up.
it.
Yes, that you want to take it seriously, right?
Yes.
Because that's very important. For the defendant's family that's coming in, this is their courtroom experience. And if the teens they're working with don't look like they're taking it seriously, then the family's not going to take it seriously, right? So that attire is your first impression for that defendant's family. And as we all know, having dressed up for things like today or teen court night, you just take on a different attitude and a different posture when you dress for that success in that moment. I mean, if you come in on a training night in a jeans and t-shirt, you're going to walk into the courtroom differently. You're going to handle yourself differently than if you came in and it was your night to be the prosecutor and you had on a blazer and heels. You're just going to take things more seriously, and you're going to be in just a different level of attitude and atmosphere. Yeah. So it's important the way we do those things. So we try to teach those skills. And we also remind everyone that it doesn't take a cost for teen court. There's no cost to participate. However, some of you might have to make one change of clothes for all of teen court. If you've had a pair of black pants and a button down and a belt, you are good to go as a gentleman for every single night of teen court. You don't have to go out and spend hundreds of dollars on a wardrobe. But for some of you, you might have to go buy a pair of dress slacks that wasn't jeans, you know, or a young lady, you might have to find something that wasn't lace-up tennis shoes. But I guarantee what you buy for teen court, you will use again. Yeah. And I've yet to have a parent who said, I'm not interested in buying my student a sharp-looking outfit. For some reason, they're always willing to do that shopping.
Always willing.
And we do a good job, I think, too, on our social media of saying there's a great sale at Bargain Hunt, or there's something going on at Big Lots, or, you know, at JCPenney, this is the season to buy a suit because they're, you know, friends and family half off. So we try to make sure that everyone has an opportunity and feel like there's nothing that would keep them from doing teen court, right? So I understand you have to be in the top 10% of your class and have 2 recommendations from teachers and be on the list of 3 people from your school from the guidance counselor to get in, right?
Not quite.
Not at all.
No. What would you say, Anna?
So one of my favorite parts about teen court is that we have so many generous volunteers and attorneys who donate their time so that we can be so accommodating to so many people without any sort of prerequisite to join our program. So like you said, teen court's free and there's 0 application. All you have to do is show up to our training, and if you can't even do that, do it on Google Classroom. And if you get all of the things done, you can be an attorney or a clerk once we graduate. So there's nothing to get in beforehand, just show that you're ready.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that, because there are programs in the state that don't have as many volunteers, so they have a limited number of students that are allowed to participate, which means that you have to apply and be selected, and the opportunity is limited for just the ones that make that cut. And I just really love the fact that we have so many attorneys and parents that volunteer that we can say, if you want to do it, you get to do it. All you have to do is train and show up. Prove that you really want to do it. Yeah, that's excellent. So if you wanted to give a piece of advice, each of you, to someone that was considering, do I want to do this or not? Is this something that I have time for, something that I should make time for? Just give me a quick idea of what you might say motivated you or you think could motivate another, and I'll just ask each of you. Anna, what would you say?
Well, for me, I think that personally my reason for showing up the first time and my reason for staying are different.
Fair enough.
My reason for showing up was that it would look good on my resume. However, I recommend just come to our open house. We've mentioned it a couple times. It's August 31st at 6:30 at the Justice Center in Hardin County. And then you'll find a reason to stay, I guarantee you.
What would you say, Kennedy?
I would say that the reason that I initially showed up was because I had, I always wanted to be an attorney in the future. But I think that teen court has allowed me to embrace discomfort, to find more confidence in myself when it comes to public speaking or just speaking to people in my community in general. It's also just allowed me to really find some individuality in the way that I present myself in a courtroom and the way that I connect with others. But I think I just keep coming back because I love the environment, I love the people, and I love continuously learning.
What do you think, Meredith?
So I came here initially also for the resume part. I'm like, that would look very cool. And my dad, before he became a chaplain in the Army, he wanted to become a lawyer. So he was like, this would be really cool. I've never been in a courtroom. And so I kind of did it for him initially. But I really just grew to love how much perspective it gives you, seeing these defendants and what has brought them to this point in their life. And then seeing these other people come into court that have been like the one guy that started the HELP program that he talked about during training. He used to be a defendant, and so I thought it was really cool to see the change that they go through. and the perspective that it gave was really cool. That's my favorite part.
I love that. I love that. So, open house, August 31st at 6:30. Folks who are in the community would say, I don't know anybody, but they can't say that anymore because they've met you all today. So there's going to be a smiling face to greet you. You're going to learn about the program and have the chance to really become a part of our Teen Court program. Freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, any public school, private school, or homeschool in Meade, Hardin, Fort Knox, LaRue, and Nelson counties.
You got it.
All right. Join us, Hardin County Teen Court, where teens take over the courthouse. We look forward to seeing you. Have a good day.